July 1st, 2025, it's that special day of the year. Baseball fans know it as Bobby Bonilla Day.
How do you stay richer in retirement than most players during their prime? Bobby Bonilla cracked the code, literally.
$1.2 million deposited every year for 25 years. I wonder what he's doing today.
Bobby Bo Day. It's a beautiful day.
Every July 1st, Bobby Bonilla trends, and not for his batting average. Instead, he collects a $1.2 million check from the New York Mets, even though he hasn't played since 2001. But this isn't a joke, it's a masterclass in financial planning. Let's break down the smartest contract in MLB history. It's not an official holiday, but in the world of baseball and finance memes, July 1st is sacred. It's the day Bobby Bonilla collects a $1.2 million check from the New York Mets. Not for coaching, not for consulting, and not for playing. He retired back in 2001, yet like clockwork, the money hits his account. This quirky tradition, now known as Bobby Bonilla Day, has become one of the most iconic and talked about events in sports finance. Fans on Twitter set reminders, sports networks cover it like breaking news, and financial advisors reference it as the ultimate play in long-term planning. It's more than just a payday. It's a lesson in patience, strategy, and how to win without ever stepping on the field. In a world obsessed with fast money and massive contracts, Bonilla's deal reminds us that sometimes the slow game is the smartest one.
Bobby Bonilla, back in the late 80s and early 90s, he was one of the most electric players in the game.
Before Bobby Bonilla became the poster child for passive income, he was a legit baseball star. In the late 80s and early 90s, Bonilla was a 6-time All-Star, a World Series champ, and one of the league's top switch hitters. He had real power from both sides of the plate and consistently drove in runs, earning contracts that made him one of the highest paid players in the game. At one point, he held the title of the highest paid player in MLB. But despite his impressive on-field career, today's fans mostly remember him for something else: his legendary contract. By 2000, Bonilla was 37, past his prime, and owed $5.9 million by the Mets. Instead of taking it all up front, Bonilla and his agent proposed deferred payments, 25 yearly installments of $119 million, starting in 2011, with an 8% interest rate. The Mets agreed. What seemed like a win for them became financial gold for Bonilla, paid every July 1st until 2035.
July 1st is guaranteed income, steady, simple, and secure. Doesn't suck. Doesn't suck.
Because here's the thing, this wasn't just a case of the Mets being clever, it was Bobby Bonilla and Dennis Gilbert who hatched the plan. Gilbert, a former life insurance executive turned sports agent, understood the power of guaranteed income and compound interest better than most in the sports world. Instead of pushing for a lump sum that could be mismanaged or lost to taxes and risky investments, the pair saw an opportunity to build long-term financial security, a retirement plan disguised as a contract payout. Gilbert approached the Mets with the idea: defer the $5.9 million, allow it to grow with 8% interest, and then pay it out like a personal annuity. In return, Bonilla would get peace of mind, knowing he'd be financially secure even decades after stepping away from baseball. The Mets agreed, thinking they'd come out ahead by investing the deferred money through Bernie Madoff's fund. Spoiler alert, they didn't, but Bonilla did. This move wasn't just creative, it was trailblazing. It changed how athletes and agents thought about financial planning, proving that in the right hands, even an exit deal can become a financial legacy.
That's what I'm working towards right there, hitting the ball like you. What are my chances?
When you look at the numbers behind Bobby Bonilla's contract, it's not just clever, it's a mathematical masterpiece. The Mets owed Bonilla $5.9 million in 2000. Instead of paying it up front, they agreed to a 10-year deferral with 8% annual compound interest. Now here's where it gets interesting. Compound interest means you're not just earning interest on the original $5.9 million each year, you're earning interest on the growing total year after year. After 10 years of compounding, that original amount had ballooned to nearly $11.8 million. But the real kicker? Rather than paying it out in one lump sum, the deal stretched those payments out across 25 years from 2011 to 2035, with Bonilla receiving a $119 million every July 1st. Add it all up, and that's $29.8 million in total, 5 times the original buyout. This is essentially a fixed annuity, a financial product designed to pay out a steady stream of income over time. Retirement planners often recommend annuities for stability and predictability, and Bonilla built one directly into his baseball contract. While most athletes worry about blowing through their savings, Bobby made sure the money would last. It's not just a great contract, it's retirement planning disguised as a sports business.
It's nice to know on July 1st, I'll have some money coming in which I can do some things that I'm comfortable with doing.
But why did the Mets ever agree to such a deal? That's where the story flips from brilliance to blunder. At the time, the Mets were owned by Fred Wilpon, who, along with team executives, had significant investments tied to Bernie Madoff. Yes, that Bernie Madoff. Madoff's fund was generating what appeared to be double-digit returns, consistently hitting 10 to 15% annually. With that kind of guaranteed income, deferring Bonilla's contract at 8% interest seemed like a smart move. The Mets believed they'd make more investing with Madoff than they'd ever have to pay Bonilla in the long run, so they said yes, thinking they were beating the system. But in 2008, it all came crashing down. Madoff's massive Ponzi scheme was exposed, revealing that those incredible returns were nothing but smoke and mirrors. The Mets weren't just on the hook for Bonilla, they were suddenly facing huge losses across the board. What they thought was a savvy financial strategy turned into one of the most embarrassing miscalculations in sports business history. Meanwhile, Bonilla's deal remained airtight, protected, and completely unaffected by the chaos. The result? The Mets lost their money, Bonilla secured his future, and the contract went from quirky to iconic.
No respect for you. There's a drive off the bat of Bobby Bonilla.
What started as a unique buyout has now become the most talked about deferred payment deal in sports history. Bobby Bonilla's contract is referenced in every conversation about smart financial planning in pro sports, and for good reason. It's been used in NBA classrooms, financial blogs, and locker rooms as a shining example of long-term thinking. But more than just a trivia nugget, it's shaped how players and teams negotiate today. Athletes across leagues, from MLB to the NFL and NBA, have embraced similar strategies to secure post-career income. Max Scherzer, for example, built deferred money into his $210 million deal with the Nationals. Manny Ramirez, Chris Davis, and even Bryce Harper have included deferred components in their contracts. These deals give players long-lasting financial security while helping teams manage payroll and prioritize in the short term. The Bonilla contract made it okay, smart, even, to prioritize the future over fast cash. It rewired the industry's approach to compensation, proving that patience pays.
That assurance that I'm able to take care of everybody, that's peace of mind everybody should enjoy.
For Bobby Bonilla, the genius of his contract isn't just in the numbers, it's in the lasting peace of mind it gives him. He's been vocal about how much the yearly July 1st payment means for his family's financial stability. With each deposit comes security and the freedom to live comfortably without financial stress or the need for risky ventures. Bonilla has said it lets him spend as if he were an active player, long after retirement. He's not chasing endorsements or worrying about market shifts. He's enjoying life, stress-free. While many athletes struggle after their careers end, Bonilla proves that smart planning pays off, and every July 1st, fans celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day like it's a national holiday. Memes, tweets, and headlines flood the internet, even from non-baseball fans. It's become a legendary example of outsmarting the system, and Bonilla loves the attention, calling it bigger than his birthday.
Love for it to be an inspiration to people, Bobby Bo Day. That guaranteed income is everything.
You don't need to be a millionaire athlete to understand the wisdom behind Bobby Bonilla's deal. At its core, this contract highlights the value of guaranteed income, a concept that applies to everyone planning for the future. Most people rely on 401ks or market-based investments for retirement. While those tools are important, they come with one big risk: volatility. Markets rise and fall. One crash could wipe out years of savings. Bonilla's deal offers a different approach: predictable, stable, guaranteed income that arrives like clockwork. It's the financial equivalent of peace of mind. Think of it like a personal pension or a private annuity. In a world where people are living longer and retirement is more expensive, having that kind of reliability can be game-changing. The contract also teaches us the power of patience and planning. Instead of demanding all his money immediately, Bonilla waited and came out far ahead. Whether you're an athlete, a teacher, or someone just trying to save for the future, the principle remains the same. A steady stream of income can protect you from the unknowns. It's not flashy, but it's effective. And in uncertain times, that might be the smartest financial play of all. Bobby Bonilla may not be in the Hall of Fame, but his contract will live forever. What began as a way to defer $5.9 million became a blueprint for financial genius. Every July 1st, we're reminded, smart money lasts longer than a swing. Now that's a legacy worth cheering.